The sun was setting over Earth, casting a warm orange glow across the planet. But on the far side of the solar system, things were far from peaceful. Alien ships, sleek and powerful, hovered just beyond the orbit of Mars. They had come to conquer, their fleet a massive, terrifying force ready to sweep through human defenses. The alien empire, known for its advanced technology and unshakable confidence, believed Earth's time had come. Their fleet was prepared for an easy victory. Humanity, however, had something that the aliens had not accounted for. Deep within Earth's military command center, General Daniel Harris sat in a darkened room, staring at the massive holographic display in front of him. The hologram showed the incoming alien fleet, hundreds of ships, each one larger and more menacing than anything humanity had ever faced. But there was one thing the general knew that the aliens did not. Earth had one last card to play. A card they had kept hidden, a weapon so powerful that its mere existence was enough to change the course of the war. This weapon was called the Aegis. The Aegis was not just a ship. It was the culmination of decades of human ingenuity and struggle. Designed in secret, it was the pinnacle of human engineering, a battleship that combined every advanced technology Earth had developed. But the aliens knew nothing of it. In their arrogance, they believed that nothing could stand against their might. They were about to learn just how wrong they were. General Harris looked at the clock on the wall. Time was running out. The alien fleet would be entering the atmosphere within hours. There was no more time to prepare. Earth's forces were scattered, and their defenses, while strong, were no match for the overwhelming numbers of the alien fleet. The only hope was the Aegis. As the general gave the order, a series of signals were sent to the Aegis's command center, located far beneath the surface of the Earth. The giant ship, still in its final stages of readiness, was powered up, its massive engines coming to life for the first time. The crew, all seasoned veterans and the best humanity had to offer, stood at their stations, waiting for the moment to strike. Far above them, in the cold vacuum of space, the alien ships continued their approach. Their commanders, with their sharp alien eyes, stared at Earth's defenses, laughing at what they saw. They thought it would be easy. But then, out of the darkness of space, came a new signal. A strange, powerful pulse that seemed to shake the very fabric of space itself. It was the first sign of the Aegis. In the alien fleet's command center, the commander's face went pale as the readings came in. The pulse wasn't just an ordinary signal. It was coming from a ship that had no business existing. The alien fleet, hovering on the edge of Earth's solar system, was ready to strike. Their ships were like giant, dark shadows against the stars, moving silently and methodically, a perfect picture of control. They were confident. Nothing on Earth could stand against their power. As they neared Earth, their commander smiled, knowing victory was near. The planet was small, unprepared, and they had already crushed human resistance in other parts of the galaxy. Earth was next. But then, something unexpected happened. A strange signal appeared on the alien commander's display. It was weak at first, just a tiny blip in the vastness of space. But as they got closer to Earth, the signal grew stronger, more defined. It wasn't just a signal, it was a pulse. The commander's brow furrowed in confusion. This pulse was different from anything the aliens had encountered. It wasn't from one of Earth's old ships or stations. It was coming from something much larger, and it was moving toward them. On the edge of Earth's atmosphere, the massive human battleship, the Aegis, slowly powered up. It was a sight no one had ever seen before. The Aegis was more than just a ship. It was a symbol of everything humanity had built. It was built in secret, hidden deep within Earth's underground facilities, away from the prying eyes of the alien invaders. Inside the Aegis's command center, Captain Marcus Voss stood with his hands firmly placed on the console, staring at the display in front of him. The ship was ready. The crew was ready. The time to strike had come. The Aegis's weapon systems had been tested, calibrated, and now it was time for them to be used. The crew stood at attention, each of them with a single thought: protect Earth. They had been trained for this moment for years, and now they would face the aliens who thought they could simply wipe humanity from the galaxy. They would show the aliens that humanity's will to survive was stronger than anything they had ever faced. As Captain Voss looked at the alien fleet, he felt a strange sense of calm wash over him. They were a powerful force, but so was humanity. They had survived wars, disasters, and countless other challenges. Now, they were ready to prove that the human spirit was unbreakable. With a quick glance to his crew, he gave the order. "Prepare for battle," he said. "This is our moment." The massive Aegis began to move, its engines firing up with a deep, resonating hum. The alien commanders stared in disbelief as the enormous ship slowly broke free of Earth's atmosphere. It was far larger than they had expected, its hull sleek and metallic, reflecting the distant stars like a weapon forged in the heart of the universe. The ship's lights flickered to life, its massive guns beginning to power up. The aliens had never seen anything like this before. The Aegis wasn't just a ship, it was a force of nature. It moved with a purpose, cutting through space like a predator hunting its prey. The alien commanders, stunned by the sight, realized they had underestimated humanity. This was no ordinary enemy. They were about to face something far worse than they had imagined. The alien fleet had been halted in its tracks, stunned by the sudden appearance of the Aegis. Their once confident commanders were now scrambling, trying to make sense of what they were seeing. This was not part of their plan. General Threx, the leader of the alien armada, paced back and forth in his command center, his mind racing. How could this be? There was no record of such a ship, he muttered, staring at the massive, gleaming battleship on the screen. The Aegis was enormous, its design completely unfamiliar. The alien ships, advanced as they were, looked like mere toys compared to the human vessel. "Commander, we've analyzed the ship's energy readings," an officer reported nervously. "It's unlike anything we've ever encountered. The power output is beyond our calculations." Threx clenched his fists, his anger rising. "I don't care about their power output. I want to know what it is, and why we've never heard of it." The officer hesitated, uncertain how to answer. "It's human-made. We've never seen anything like it before, but we believe it was built in secret, undetected by our forces." The thought of Earth building such a weapon, hidden right under their noses, sent a chill down the commander's spine. For years, the aliens had studied humanity, believing their technology to be primitive. They had thought the humans were weak, but now they were facing something far more dangerous. "Prepare the fleet," General Threx ordered, his voice firm. "We will take it down, no matter what it takes." But even as he gave the order, he knew that something about this battle felt different. The Aegis wasn't just a ship, it was a symbol of human strength, and he couldn't help but feel a strange sense of fear at the sight of it. Back on Earth, Captain Marcus Voss stood in the command center of the Aegis, watching the alien fleet on his own display. His face was calm, but his mind was sharp. He knew what was coming. The alien fleet would regroup, attempt to find weaknesses, and then strike with everything they had. But he was ready for them. Humanity had never backed down from a fight, and this would be no different. "Captain, the alien fleet is repositioning," one of his officers reported. "They're preparing for an attack. It looks like they're sending their strongest ships toward us." Voss nodded. "Let them come. We're not backing down." The crew worked quickly, preparing the ship's weapons systems for the coming battle. The Aegis wasn't just built for destruction, it was built for precision. Every movement, every calculation was made to ensure the ship could take down anything that dared challenge it. And now, humanity's final weapon would prove its worth. Up in space, General Threx's fleet began to close in on the Aegis. They knew the battle would be fierce, but they still underestimated the human spirit. Threx was determined to destroy the ship. But deep inside, a part of him began to question if they could. The aliens weren't prepared for what was about to happen. The Aegis was unlike any enemy they had ever faced. The alien fleet moved in, their ships cutting through space with terrifying speed and precision. General Threx's orders were clear: destroy the human ship and claim Earth as their next conquest. But as the alien ships closed in on the Aegis, they quickly realized that things would not go as planned. The Aegis stood in space like a silent giant, its hull gleaming under the distant stars. Humanity's most powerful weapon, designed for this moment, was ready. The crew aboard the Aegis had been preparing for this for months. They knew the aliens would come with everything they had, but they were ready for a fight. "Brace yourselves," Captain Voss said, his voice calm but firm. "This is what we trained for." The massive battleship's engines roared to life as it moved into position. The alien fleet surrounded them on all sides, their weapons charged and ready. It was clear the aliens had no intention of negotiating. They were here to destroy. But the crew of the Aegis wasn't afraid. As the alien ships fired their first barrage, the Aegis responded. The ship's massive energy shields flared to life, absorbing the alien fire with ease. The shots that had been meant to destroy the human ship bounced off harmlessly, their power completely drained by the Aegis's advanced defenses. "Shields holding steady," reported one of the officers. "The alien weapons are not even scratching the surface." "Good," Captain Voss replied, nodding. "Let's show them what humanity can really do." With a command, the Aegis fired back. Plasma cannons, powerful railguns, and energy beams shot out from the ship, cutting through the alien fleet with deadly precision. The aliens, stunned by the sudden turn of events, struggled to react. Their ships, once so confident and unstoppable, were now being torn apart by a force they didn't understand. "Incoming ships, Captain," shouted an officer. "They're sending more reinforcements." Voss's eyes narrowed. "Let them come. We're not done yet." As the battle raged on, the human crew worked in perfect harmony, each person doing their part to keep the Aegis running smoothly. The ship's weapon systems were designed for maximum efficiency, and now they were being put to the test. The alien fleet had never encountered anything like this before. No matter how many ships they sent, no matter how powerful their weapons were, they couldn't seem to break through the human defenses. The aliens had expected an easy victory. Instead, they were facing a wall of human determination and innovation. For every alien ship that fell, another replaced it. But the Aegis continued to fight back, unstoppable and relentless. General Threx watched in horror as his fleet was slowly being overwhelmed. He had never seen such a fierce resistance. The human ship wasn't just strong, it was smart. It predicted their movements and countered every attack with terrifying accuracy. This was no ordinary ship. This was humanity's well-made flesh. "Fall back," Threx shouted. "Regroup. We're not prepared for this." But it was too late. The first clash had already shifted the balance of power. The Aegis was no longer just a ship. It was a symbol of humanity's refusal to be defeated. The battle raged on, but the alien fleet's confidence was beginning to crack. What had started as a sure victory for the invaders had turned into a nightmare. Ships that had once gleamed with deadly force were now floating in space, destroyed or damaged beyond repair. The Aegis moved with precision, its weapons cutting through the alien ships as if they were nothing more than paper. General Threx watched as his forces scrambled to regroup. The situation was worse than he had ever imagined. The Aegis was unlike anything the aliens had encountered. It wasn't just a ship, it was a weapon, one that seemed to anticipate every move the aliens made. He had underestimated humanity, and now he was paying the price. "Commander, we've analyzed the ship again," one of Threx's officers said, his voice filled with disbelief. "The Aegis, it's evolving. It's learning." "What?" Threx snapped, turning sharply to face the officer. "It adapts, General. With every attack we launch, it counteracts, adjusts its tactics. It's as if it knows us. It's predicting our next moves." Threx's mind raced. This was not possible. How could the humans have built a ship so intelligent, so adaptable? Their technology was primitive, nothing like the advanced systems the alien empire had developed over millennia. Yet, here it was, humanity's greatest weapon, more powerful than anything he had ever imagined. The humans have engineered this ship to learn. Threx muttered, still trying to make sense of it. How? The officer shook his head. We don't know, but every time we strike, it responds faster. It's unlike any technology we've ever seen. The realization hit Threx like a ton of bricks. This wasn't just a battle for Earth. The aliens were facing something that could change the entire galaxy's balance of power. Humanity had, in secret, created something that could outsmart the greatest minds in the universe. And it was happening right now. Back on the Aegis, Captain Voss stood at the command center, watching the battle unfold. His crew was working seamlessly, each officer focused on their task. The Aegis was firing with deadly accuracy, tearing through the alien ships one by one. But Voss knew this was only the beginning. They had to keep pushing forward. The aliens wouldn't stop until they were sure they had won. We've got incoming reinforcements, one of the officers called out. More ships are heading this way. Voss nodded, not a hint of fear in his voice. Let them come. The Aegis can handle it. He wasn't just relying on the ship's weapons. He was relying on the ship's intelligence, its ability to learn and adapt. It was like a living creature, responding to the enemy's moves and striking back with even more precision. As the battle continued, the alien commanders grew more desperate. Their fleet, once the most feared in the galaxy, was being picked apart by this human ship. And worse, they were beginning to realize that the Aegis wasn't just a weapon. It was a symbol of everything humanity had worked for: survival, intelligence, and an unwavering will to fight. We can't win this, General Threx said, his voice heavy with defeat. We are facing something beyond our understanding. The battle between the Aegis and the alien fleet was far from over, but already the alien forces were beginning to falter. Their advanced ships, once so powerful, were being torn apart by humanity's greatest weapon. The Aegis was relentless, its weapons striking with precision, while its AI system continuously adapted to every new strategy the aliens attempted. Inside the command center of the Aegis, Captain Marcus Voss stood tall, his eyes scanning the chaos outside. The alien ships were retreating in disarray, but the fight wasn't over yet. He knew that the alien fleet had to be regrouping for one final push. But humanity's will to survive was stronger than ever, and the Aegis was ready for whatever came next. Captain, said an officer, the alien fleet is reorganizing. They're preparing for another strike. This will be their last attempt. Voss nodded, his expression serious but calm. They won't give up easily, but neither will we. This is our home. We fight for it. The crew around him nodded in agreement, their determination evident on their faces. They had all known the risks when they signed up to serve on the Aegis, but now, as they stood on the brink of victory, they knew that their fight was about more than just a ship. It was about everything humanity had built, everything they had fought for: freedom, survival, and the chance to make their mark on the universe. As the alien fleet made its move, the Aegis prepared for the final clash. The ship's weapons were fully charged, its shields glowing bright as the battle once again escalated. The humans aboard the ship were focused, working as one. Their teamwork and ingenuity the true strength of the vessel. It wasn't just technology that made the Aegis so powerful, it was the human spirit behind it. General Threx watched from the alien fleet's command center, his eyes filled with frustration and fear. Despite his fleet's best efforts, they were losing. The Aegis was unstoppable, and he knew that there was nothing more his forces could do. His thoughts were interrupted by one of his officers. General, we're being pushed back. The human ship, its weapon systems are too advanced. We're losing too many ships. Threx's eyes widened. He had never expected this kind of resistance. He had thought the humans weak, unprepared. But now, they were showing him the full extent of their power, and it was terrifying. "We can't defeat them. We've underestimated them. This battle is lost," Frex muttered, his voice full of defeat. Back on the Aegis, Captain Voss stood firm as his crew made final adjustments to the ship's weapons systems. They were ready. The alien fleet was falling apart, and humanity had proven they were more than capable of defending their world. The aliens had thought they could take Earth without effort, but now they were facing the full force of human determination. "Prepare to fire," Voss ordered, his voice steady. "We finish this." With one final decisive blow, the Aegis unleashed a barrage of energy blasts, tearing through the remaining alien ships. The battle was over. Humanity had won. General Threx watched in disbelief as his fleet was reduced to wreckage. The human ship had done what no one had thought possible. It had defended Earth, and the aliens had been defeated by the very species they had once thought insignificant. The alien fleet was falling apart. What had once been an organized, powerful force was now in chaos. Ships that had once struck fear into the hearts of countless civilizations were now scattered, damaged, and retreating. The Aegis, humanity's ultimate weapon, had proven to be more than the aliens had ever expected. The battle had shifted dramatically, and the aliens were on the verge of defeat. In the alien command center, General Threx slammed his fist against the console in frustration. His fleet was failing, and there was nothing he could do to stop it. The humans, whom he had once thought were weak and unprepared, had surprised him at every turn. The Aegis was unstoppable, and its crew was a force to be reckoned with. They had adapted to every attack, countered every move, and fought with a strength he could no longer ignore. "We cannot continue like this," Threx shouted, his voice filled with anger and disbelief. "We've lost too many ships. The humans are better prepared than we thought." One of his officers, visibly shaken, stepped forward. "General, we've tried everything. Their shields are impenetrable. Our weapons are ineffective against them. We can't win this fight." Threx's eyes burned with frustration. The alien commanders had underestimated the humans and their technology. But what really frightened him was not just the power of the Aegis, it was the human will. The humans fought not just with weapons, but with determination, with a refusal to back down. This wasn't just a fight for Earth, it was a fight for survival, and the humans were proving they would not be easily defeated. "Are we truly going to lose to these creatures?" Threx muttered under his breath, as if speaking to himself. "How could we have been so blind?" Back aboard the Aegis, Captain Marcus Voss stood at the command center, his eyes scanning the battle outside. His crew was working tirelessly, keeping the ship's systems running at full capacity. The Aegis had proven itself in every way. But Voss knew the battle wasn't over yet. The aliens were trying to regroup, but humanity's resolve was stronger than ever. The Aegis had more surprises left for the invaders. "Captain," one of the officers said, "the alien fleet is retreating. They're trying to escape." Voss nodded. "We can't let them get away. Prepare for a final strike." He didn't say it with anger or hate, but with a cold, calculated determination. Humanity had faced their worst enemy, and now it was time to end the fight. The aliens had come to Earth thinking they could take it without resistance. They had been wrong, and now the Aegis would finish what it had started. The weapons systems on the Aegis powered up, and the crew was ready for the final confrontation. The remaining alien ships attempted to flee, but they were no match for the precision and power of the Aegis. Energy blasts streaked across the battlefield, obliterating the alien ships one by one. The alien fleet was scattered and destroyed, their ships reduced to wreckage. General Threx watched in disbelief as his fleet was wiped out. His heart sank as the reality of their failure set in. The humans had defeated them. And they hadn't just defeated them, they had sent a clear message. The battle was drawing to a close. The alien fleet, broken and scattered, was no longer a threat. But Captain Marcus Voss and the crew of the Aegis knew they couldn't stop just yet. The last of the alien ships were still retreating, but they would not let the invaders escape. This was humanity's chance to show the galaxy that they would not back down, that they would not be beaten. On the bridge of the Aegis, the crew remained focused. The energy in the room was tense but determined. The aliens had underestimated them from the beginning, and now they were about to pay the price. The humans had fought for their home, and they would finish this fight. "Captain," one of the officers said, "all remaining alien ships are trying to jump to hyperspace. They're trying to escape." Voss stood still, his gaze fixed on the view screen as the alien ships began to shift into their faster-than-light travel modes. The alien fleet's desperation was clear. They had been defeated, but they still tried to flee, hoping to fight another day. "No," Captain Voss said softly, but with deadly intent. "They won't get away. We're finishing this now." With a few quick commands, the Aegis locked onto the alien ships using its advanced tracking systems. The crew worked quickly, preparing for the final strike. Voss knew that every moment counted. If the aliens were allowed to escape, they would only return with reinforcements. This had to end. The weapons on the Aegis hummed to life. The massive ship, still strong and steady, aimed its powerful cannons at the retreating fleet. The ship's AI had learned the tactics of the aliens, predicting their movements and adapting faster than the alien fleet could react. The human ship was no longer just a weapon. It was a force of nature, and it would not let the invaders slip away. "Firing now," one of the officers called out. A burst of energy shot from the Aegis, striking the nearest alien ship. The blast was precise, ripping through the enemy's shields and tearing apart the hull. The alien ship exploded in a flash of light. The rest of the retreating fleet turned to flee, but it was too late. The Aegis was faster and more powerful, and its shots never missed. One by one, the remaining alien ships were destroyed. Some tried to escape, others attempted to fight back, but nothing could stop the Aegis. The alien forces were wiped out, their fleet reduced to space debris. As the last alien ship was destroyed, silence fell over the bridge of the Aegis. The crew stared at their screens, watching the remnants of the alien fleet float in the dark of space. The victory was complete. The humans had won. Earth was safe. Captain Voss let out a deep breath. It had been a long and hard fight, but humanity had done it. They had stood up to a force far stronger than themselves and had emerged victorious. The Aegis had proven its worth, but it was the courage and determination of the human crew that had truly made the difference. "We did it," Voss said, his voice calm but filled with pride. "Earth is safe." The crew erupted in cheers, their relief and pride overwhelming. The threat was over, and humanity had shown that they would not go down without a fight. The universe would remember this day, the day when the humans proved that their strength, ingenuity, and will to survive could not be crushed. The stars in space glowed brightly as the wreckage of the alien fleet drifted into the void. The battle was over, and the human fleet, led by the Aegis, had emerged victorious. Captain Marcus Voss stood on the bridge, watching the screen in front of him. The alien threat was gone. The last of their ships had been destroyed. Earth was safe. The crew was still reeling from the intensity of the fight. For hours, they had held their ground, fighting against impossible odds. Now the ship was quiet, except for the soft hum of the engines and the low voices of the officers. There was a sense of relief, but also of disbelief. Had they really just won? "We did it," one of the officers said, still sounding a little unsure. "We stopped them." Captain Voss nodded, his expression calm but proud. "Yes, we did. But don't forget, it wasn't just the ship. It was all of you. It was our will to survive. That's what made the difference." Voss looked out at the debris from the destroyed alien ships. It wasn't just a victory. It was a message. A message to the universe. Humanity had proven itself, not just to the alien invaders, but to everyone. They were no longer a weak, unprepared species. They were a force to be reckoned with. The officer beside him hesitated for a moment, then spoke. "Captain, we've intercepted a message. It's from the alien leaders." Voss turned. "What is it?" The officer pulled up the message on the screen. It was a final communication from General Threx, the commander of the alien fleet. His voice crackled through the speaker, filled with anger and frustration. "We have underestimated you, humans, but mark my words, this will not be the end. We will return, and next time, we will not be so careless." The message ended, leaving a chilling silence behind. For a moment, the crew stood still, staring at the screen. The aliens had made their threats, but it was clear now that they had learned something crucial. They had learned that humanity would not go down without a fight. Captain Voss spoke, his voice steady. "We've shown them that we are not weak. We've shown them that Earth is not a place they can conquer. And if they come back, we'll be ready." The message from General Threx confirmed something that Voss already knew. The alien empire had thought they could crush humanity with ease, but they had been wrong. The ages had proven that human creativity, resilience, and determination were the greatest weapons of all. The battle was over, but the war was far from finished. The crew of the Aegis knew their work wasn't done. Earth was safe, for now, but the universe was vast, and there would be more challenges ahead. But for the first time, they had hope. They had proven that humanity could stand up to anything. They were no longer the underdogs in the galaxy. They were warriors. "We'll keep fighting," Voss said, looking out at the stars. "And we'll make sure humanity's voice is heard." The final battle was over, and Earth had won. The Aegis, humanity's ultimate weapon, had proven itself in the heat of combat, its advanced technology and unbreakable spirit leading the way. The alien fleet had been crushed, and Earth was safe, at least for now. Captain Marcus Voss stood on the bridge of the Aegis, staring out into the vast emptiness of space. The stars sparkled in the distance, and for a moment, it almost felt peaceful. But he knew this wasn't the end. The message from General Threx had made it clear. The aliens would return, and humanity's fight for survival was far from over. "We've won," Lieutenant Sarah Reed said, breaking the silence. She stood next to Voss, her eyes scanning the starry sky. "But what now?" Voss thought for a moment before answering. "We rebuild, we prepare, and we make sure the universe knows that humanity is not a species to be underestimated." The crew of the Aegis had fought with everything they had, and they had emerged victorious. They had shown the galaxy that human determination could overcome even the most powerful enemies. But Voss knew they couldn't relax just yet. The aliens would be back, and next time they would come with more force, more firepower, and more strategy. Humanity had to be ready. "Captain," Officer Daniels said, looking up from his console, "we've received a transmission from Earth's military command. They're asking for our report." Voss nodded. "Send them our status. Let them know we've won, but the fight isn't over." As Daniels sent the message, Voss turned back to the stars. The Aegis had proven its worth, but it was more than just a ship. It was a symbol of humanity's strength, its ingenuity, and its refusal to back down. They had shown the aliens that Earth was not just a planet to be conquered. It was a world worth protecting. "We can't afford to rest," Voss said, his voice filled with quiet resolve. "We need to make sure the next time they come, we're even stronger. We can't let them think this victory was a fluke." Reed nodded, her expression determined. "We'll be ready." In the distance, the debris of the destroyed alien fleet drifted slowly through space. The Aegis hovered nearby, its engines quiet, its weapons reloaded and ready. But there was no celebration. The crew knew that the victory was only the beginning of something much larger. The aliens had underestimated humanity's strength, but they had seen just a small glimpse of what humans were capable of. "The next chapter starts now," Voss said. "We protect our home, we build our future, and we make sure no one forgets the strength of humanity. As the crew of the Aegis prepared to return to Earth, Voss knew one thing for certain. Earth had proven its place in the galaxy. The aliens had come, and they had failed. Humanity would not just survive, it would thrive. And no one, not even the most powerful alien empire, could stop them. This final part emphasizes humanity's resolve and readiness for future challenges. While the victory over the alien fleet is complete, the crew understands that their fight is ongoing. It's a hopeful and determined conclusion, showing that humanity is no longer a weak, underestimated species, but a force to be reckoned with.